Why 2 helmets? Welcome everybody to DIMAR Training Pills. Today we will go through the reason why we manufactured 2 different helmets model. One for CPAP, and one for NIV. Both requires patients able to spontaneously breathe. Nevertheless, there is a big difference between CPAP and NIV. The first modality doesn't require any synchronization between the patient and the flow generator. Whereas quick reaction of the ventilator at patient triggering is fundamental in NIV, PSV, application. This is the reason why we optimize 2 different helmets models. CPAP helmet. CPAP means continuous positive airway pressure, and it's based on the idea to make the patient breathe at higher pressure level compared to the standard environmental one. CPAP provides a constant flow, sufficient to keep the PEEP, positive end expiratory pressure, stable during the whole breathing cycle. Applied to a patient with a still sufficient respiratory drive, CPAP enhances the patient gas exchange thanks to alveolar recruitment and reducing his work of breathing. CPAP helmets are soft with high internal volume and they don't have any rigid part. This because in CPAP we mostly have to grant 2 things, PEEP stability and patient comfort. Softness and high internal volume are both preparatory to patient comfort, granted by the absence of any rigid component, and PEEP stability. The high internal volume works as reservoir suitable to counterbalance, or limit, the drop of pressure during patient inspiratory phase. NIV helmet. PSV means pressure support ventilation. It is a real spontaneous ventilation mode and it requires communication between patient and ventilator. During CPAP flow generator just provides a continuous flow set by the clinicians to stabilize the PEEP. In PSV mode, the ventilator provides flow to rise pressure when patient asks for it. In PSV mode we will have then 2 pressures levels, EPAP and IPAP, also called PEEP and pressure support, respectively. In PSV mode the softness and high internal volume would impede the synchronization, generating delays and misleading the ventilator. So we reduced the height. Made the neck membrane and the helmet body stiffer. And, very important, we included a rigid ring at the helmet base which is intended to make the whole structure much more stable and make the connector stay still. Consider that, increasing and decreasing the pressure inside the helmet, without fixing the connector on the rigid ring. They would fluctuate up and down, generating a delay in detect the patient trigger by the ventilator. This reduces the time of assistance, the time in which patient inspiration is in phase with the mechanical inspiration, that should be ideally 100%. Generally speaking, more stability and limited volumes make the input sent by the patient to the ventilator straight, quick and less intermediated as possible. Same thing happens for the ventilator response to the patient activity. This greatly improves also the patient breathing sensation, making the therapy more tolerable and effective. Frequently asked questions. Can I use CPAP helmet to do NIV or NIV helmet to do CPAP? It is possible to provide CPAP using an NIV helmet. Remember anyway that you are sacrificing the patient comfort to favor a synchronization which is neither required or needed. Moreover, the smaller dimensions reduce the reservoir function of the helmet and this might affect the PEEP stability. On the contrary, it might be challenging to synchronize a patient with a ventilator in PSV mode using a CPAP helmet because of the high compliance, volume and softness of the interface. Thank you for watching this video. For more information, the DIMAR specialist staff is at your disposal.